Hello, everybody. Hope you're all having a great Thursday. I had a really nice little Wednesday night. Didn't quite get there to win everything. Was ended up like 15th, 8th, 7th. Scherzer getting pulled to 76 pitches cost me a top three probably in the 250 on DraftKings. Did cash deep in I think 15th or so on the 1650 on FanDuel. Cashed in basically every FanDuel lineup. My monster, all my Grand Slam entries, and basically everything except for the 222. But it was a good night. Never going to be happy about 3x, but I'm happy about 3x, but not the big one. Hopefully we can get it tonight. This is an ugly slate, so let's get weird with it. Okay, that's first of all, we're going to have to get weird with this slate. There's going to be people out there saying, "Oh, don't play Carrasco if you're going to play the Braves." I totally disagree with that. I think it's narrow-minded, too shallow to look at things like, "Oh, you can't play a Braves bat here or there." There's going to be a Brave or two in all my lineups, probably two in all my lineups. I just don't see this as a spot where at least two of them don't have a big day. Chichi Gonzalez is terrible. You've got the Colorado bullpen, good hitting weather in Colorado, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. However, there are plenty of other places we can get different. Freddie Freeman would be the obvious choice, but I'll start off with my chalky play. And I love Jock Peterson. I think he's the most likely to take one out. You have a low strikeout righty, which is like a dream for a guy like him, especially with his career in Coors. He's been awesome. So I love Jock Peterson tonight. That's the obvious chalk play. Okay. Let's talk about another one. Brandon Lowe. Assuming that he's in the lineup, Lowe. Really good BVP. He's not projected to be in the lineups anywhere right now, so that might be a little bit of a benefit later on. I don't think people are going to want to play him in a lefty-lefty spot against at an expensive price tag against Rodriguez. I believe he has three home runs in 12 at-bats against Rodriguez for his career. That's not a huge sample size, obviously, but we want to take what we can get to get a little different as much as we can on these little slates. And I do think that he doesn't get played against lefties. I don't like Rodriguez tonight, and I do like Tampa Bay. So that is something I'm considering a little bit of at least a mini stack from Tampa Bay. The other play I'm going to talk about, which is going to lead us into sort of another stack I like, which is the Mets. I think Zach Thompson's talented, but these young kids, you can try to pick on them. And I think that, and sort of hope they have a down game. The Mets are sort of due for a breakout performance, but I love Pete Alonso especially. That's my premium play. I just think that you could play him with Freeman on FanDuel. You could play him instead of Freeman on DraftKings and still stack Atlanta. I think that's really a route that I'm definitely looking to go. I really like Confortos. He's cheap, and power seems to be coming back a little bit. So I do think the Met stack is definitely something I'm interested in doing tonight. Another chalky play, another chalky stack. I'm not going to stack Colorado, but I will have a player or two in most of my lineups. Not all of them, but most of them. Ryan McMahon is my favorite, and Trevor Story. But McMahon, you might get a little bit lower ownership, and I think he's just a really, really excellent play here against Tukey. I don't mind Tukey, by the way. I'm going to have at least 10% of them in my GPP lineups. Take a shot where you can on these weird little slates and get weird. We know Colorado in general, yes, they've hit well at home. Are we just going to say that a team that this can't last forever? We've also seen them dominated at home at times. So I'll take a shot on a guy like Tukey with a good K rate. It's not an ideal situation because his movement on his pitches won't be the same and all that, but let's take some shots with that. However, on the flip side, I do think McMahon and Story are my preferred options from from Colorado. I know that's chalky, but that is where I'm at. And we got McClanahan, who's going to be pretty chalky, and I love McClanahan. I think he's got incredible stuff. But again, with these young guys facing a good lineup, we can try and take advantage of this. And Boston's been struggling, but I think JD Martinez is a phenomenal tournament play. I will just take his career lefty numbers. When you have an unowned JD Martinez at a reasonable price tag against a lefty, I think it's something we have to take advantage of on a slate like this. You can also throw a little nod to Nelson Cruz with the same type of situation. I really think both those guys are firmly in play. The problem with Nelson Cruz is the first base eligibility on DraftKings. Like him a little bit better on FanDuel. But I really think JD is my favorite bat there. I don't even mind Devers, by the way, either, and that overpaying to get different. This is a slate we want to get different. So that's what we're looking at. I do have all my plays up on TrueDFS.com. We've been crushing all my ownerships of each team, pitcher, etc. My favorite values, my favorite bets of the day. Check it out. It's free for a month if you want to check it out now. Also, I'll link to Discord in the description here. And I think that it's worth taking a look at. Pitching wise, I'll tell you what my exact ownerships are right now. I will be about with the field on Carrasco. I really like him. He looks like he's coming back. I also don't mind on the flip side. Again, it's a weird get different slate. So there will be some Jesus Sanchez's. There will be some Lewis Brinson's in my lineups tonight. I think it's just a strong, leverage play against Carrasco. But I do have Carrasco as my highest owned pitcher currently. followed by, right now it's Minor. That's probably going to change because I actually kind of like some of the Cleveland bats. But Minor and McKenzie are basically my second. And I also think that you can stack against McKenzie because of his walk rate. He's been excellent. I think he's awesome. But when you have all these young pitchers as chalk, and then you've got an old pitcher in Carrasco as chalk, you kind of want to try and get a little different. And currently that's what I have, but I'm going to probably end up going to a little bit of Mitch Keller. And again, even if I'm playing these guys in one lineup, doesn't mean I'm not going to get a mini stack against them or even a full stack against them in other lineups. McKenzie, especially because of his walk rate. I just think that's how we have to get different on these slates and take these weird plays. I also think that, for value, Michael Taylor, Harold Ramirez, really cheap, kind of make other things work. Maybe Duvall gets lower owned today of the Atlanta stack, but I really think that not playing Atlanta is just a foolish move. Even on this slate to get weird. I just think you want to get a bat or two. You don't need to get everything. You can get the high production guys and then get another stack that goes off. You can play a 3-man and still be off the board if you play the Mets, if you play Tampa Bay, if you play KC. You also don't need to fully stack on these 5-game slates. You can go 3-3-2. You can go 3-2-2-1. You can do a lot of different things that other people aren't going to do, and this will differentiate you in the nature of how you play. I just have a hard time not seeing Atlanta have a good night tonight, at least a couple bats in those lineups. And I mentioned the ones I like the best. Unfortunately, they are the chalk, but you can play chalk with some non-chalk, and you absolutely don't need to make these hard and fast rules where you stack or fade. I think this is really a foolish thing that a lot of touts like to talk about, and I totally disagree with it. I was thinking about even max entering tonight because I felt like I've done really well on these really get weird slates. And one of my problems and one of my leaks potentially in my game is I can occasionally get a little too off the board. In baseball, that usually works out well because in the long run, because you want to be, on a given day, nothing's for certain. And I think there's just a lot of opportunities to get weird. And I mentioned, what most of them are: KC, New York, the Mets. I think that Cleveland is an interesting spot if you don't play Ramirez, especially, who will be the one guy who's really owned. I really think there's a lot of ways you can get different on this slate and still be, it won't be necessarily, actually, I think it will be profitable in the long run, but you have a chance to really take down some tournaments just by getting weird with your, maybe your main stack. Maybe you make it a 3-3-2, and you have 3 from Atlanta, 3 from the Mets, and 2 from Tampa Bay, 2 from Boston. These are not going to be owned. So just remember that. My bigger play is probably fading more of the McClanahan chalk. I guess in terms of getting off the pitchers, but mostly I will be rotating in a group of pitchers. A lot of guys in these slates want to have a nice tight core. I don't think that's the right approach personally, the way I'm looking at the slate with the number of lineups I'm playing a couple in the 555, playing the 333, the 222 on FanDuel. I'm going to play the 250, a couple 250s, a couple of the 121, all that stuff on DK. So I want to try and get weird and get off the board, and I want to take something down tonight, and hopefully you guys have the luck as well. I will be with you live briefly at 6 Eastern. And then we won't have Sheets, unfortunately, tonight. Good luck to Sheets wherever he is. Good luck to Rhodey out there. Hopefully we have another nice night, and let's crush it, guys. Good luck to everybody.